What's up, everybody? If you can see, we got the Mercedes back again. It is the 2012 C250, and I got the Campy up today to block the sun. It's supposed to be another scorcher today. It's supposed to be about 95 degrees, I believe. But we're going to be doing the timing chain on this one. It does have the 1.8, I believe. Let me check real quick. Yes, that's what it looks like, 1.8 U2A. That's what it says. But we're going to be doing the timing chain on this right here. We're going to actually do the timing chain, the cam adjusters, and the tensioner on this. You do have to use some special tools to break the timing chain. We're going to get this cover off real quick. All you do is you just take the cap off and you just pull up. And it should pop off. Yeah. I can get her to go on there. I'll throw that back on for a minute. But in order to get to this, we're going to take the valve cover off, which has this wire and harness that runs through here. It's got some little clips on it. Your coils are right there. I'm going to take those off. You got some vacuum lines and stuff like that, and then we're going to take this air tube off. I'm going to start by removing the valve cover and the coils from the engine and taking some of these off. Let me grab some tools and then I'll be right back. First thing we're going to do is start by removing this air intake tube. There's a hose clamp right here at the air box. Should be able to pull that off. There it goes. You got your gate sensor right here, like a pressure sensor. When you push this little safety tab up, push it back, and pull them right out. Then we're going to disconnect these right here. This one should just push in. They won't come out. First we'll just pull this off. You just push that little red piece in. You can use a screwdriver or anything. Just push in on it a little bit and it'll come off pretty easy. Then I don't know how well you can see down in here, but at the turbo there's going to be another hose clamp down there that feeds it. That one's kind of hard to show you. Let me pull this tube off real quick, and then when I get it off I'll show you all the connectors that you're going to have to disconnect. So there's your air intake tube off right there. This right here is the back side to the turbo. As you can see, there's another hose clamp right there. Then there's a sensor on the tube where it goes into it. It comes from this big one also. Like I said, these are the 3 lines that connect to that tube. You can just pull this little hose clamp piece off. You can put a regular squeeze clamp, worm gear clamp, whichever one you want to on there, or you can try to reuse that. Sometimes they are reusable, not every time, but I like to stick that to the side. This just pulls out, and this is that little red piece connector I was talking about. You just push it in and it pulls straight back. Here's the connector that went into that other sensor right there. But now that we got that out of the way, what I'm going to start doing is pulling the valve cover off. I'm going to pull the coils out first. I'm going to keep them in the order in which they come out. It's just something I like to do. And then we're going to start taking off all these vacuum lines and the wiring harness and stuff like that. Let me see what size these little bolts are. So these right here that hold the coils in, they are an E8. They're an external Torx. And we're going to go ahead and start pulling those out. Let me pull them all out. Each one of them should have 2 bolts on them. But I'm going to pull them all out and show you what they look like. And then I'll let you know about all the remaining bolts for the valve cover. So I have all the coils out right now. And I got them in order of 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is what they look like. These are the 8s that hold them in place. You can tell how long they are. It's kind of a good thing that we're doing this because he has an oil leak right here on cylinder 1 around the spark plug area. I'll show it to you. You can see down in there, it's got a little bit on my finger, not much, but you can see that it's starting to leak. And like I said, this car only has 47,000 miles. We did disconnect this sensor, that sensor, the dipstick tube for the transmission. Went ahead and took this evap portion right here out. It is held in underneath here as well, so you won't be able to take it out completely unless you take this tube off. And I'm going to take this hose off. I had that up, I pushed it down by accident. But here is the overflow line right here. It goes in right there. But we'll have to take pretty much most of this off as well. But right now we're just focusing on the valve cover itself. When you disconnect all those connectors, you can move the wiring harness around so you can get to these bolts on the perimeter and inside of here. But we're going to remove this sensor just in case something can hit it, I would say. So I'm going to take that out. That looks like an E6, and these should be E10s. I'm going to go ahead and start pulling this sensor out. And when you take these bolts out of the valve cover, start from the edge. I like to go from like the corner, then just hop around, just so you don't crack the intake. Because on these German cars, these intakes, they're easy to crack if you take them off in the wrong order. And torque is especially important on these, just because they don't torque too much. This valve cover probably only torques to 15-18 foot-pounds at the most. But I'm going to go ahead and pull this sensor out and go ahead and start taking these valve cover bolts out and see if we can get this valve cover off. As you can see, we got the valve cover off now. When you go to pull it back, pull this tube right here back just a little bit. Don't put too much pressure because they are plastic and they can break. And you'll have to slide it out if you don't disconnect all the wiring for the wiring harness. Tilt it back this way and slide it out towards the passenger side. And as you can see, it was leaking a little bit. The gasket was actually pretty hard, being that it only had 47,000 miles on it. It was stuck on there really well. Here is the valve cover right here. This is cylinder 1. You can see where it's already got, like this, you can hear that. It's really hard and brittle. The rest of them are actually pretty soft, but this one right here is super hard, and you can tell where it's done rolled it. Yeah, I can't even grab it. But this is the gasket. It was stuck on the cylinder head pretty well, actually. But that's the valve cover. But we're going to start taking all these hoses off right here. I do believe that is the thermostat housing right there. But we're going to disconnect like these actuator sensors for the cam actuators. And if you look, you can see these are where the timing marks are right there. But there's little arrows on the top as well. But we're going to have to rotate the engine to get it back to that position, just to make sure that it's timed up right. And whenever I moved it over here to this location, when I first cranked it up, it had to rotate over probably 4 or 5 times before it would start. And then it started rattling for probably a minute or 2 before it started to quiet down, and that's the reason we're doing this. But like I said, I'm going to take this off right here so we can get all these water lines off. These little clips, all you do is you just pull them up till they click into this position, and you can pull these hoses out without taking these clips off completely. But to take this piece off, we're going to have to take it loose from this bracket that's right there, and those are E10s. But let me get some of this stuff out of the way so I can show you better what it all looks like, and then we'll go from there. So I've went a little bit further. I do have the thermostat out of it right here. The hardest bolt is that one right there where my pinky is. when you do that one last, because as you're pulling it out, you can actually pull and get your socket out if you are using a 3/8 E10 socket. The rest of them you can get to fairly easy. And remember that the bottom two are longer because they go through the actual upper timing cover. Another thing that I did was remove this bracket that was right here on the driver's passenger side. Sorry about that. This is it right here. That's what it looks like. That little portion right there is where the thermostat little bypass valve goes. And then we have the timing cover about ready to come off. I took all the bolts out of it and disconnected all the sensors. Another thing I did was on the temp sensors, they used the same connectors just about. So rather than getting them mixed up, I took a silver Sharpie and put a little blue and silver mark on it and put it on the other one. I know they're a little different, so you can't mix them up, but I'd rather just do that rather than trying to get them mixed up and trying to force it and end up breaking something. It's just a good thing to do if you've never taken one apart before. This is the first time I've ever done this job on this engine. But I do have all the perimeter bolts out of the timing cover right here. The only bolt that can stay in is this one right there, because that holds your ground wire. And when you go to pry it off, use a pry bar and get in on this corner right here and pry right there and right there in between this little spot. And as you can see, it is separated a little bit. Then that way you can get a regular flathead in there and work it back and forth. Alright, there we go. It just popped loose right there. Let's see if we can get it to come out. There we go. And there's the O-ring right there on the back of the water portion where the thermostat goes. The kit I have comes with this O-ring, so if you're going to reuse it, just double check to make sure that there's no tears or anything in it and that it hasn't swollen up on you or any of that good stuff. But we're going to be doing an oil change anyway, so I'm not really worried about the water getting into the oil at this point. But we have it off right there, and to be honest, this is, if you're just doing the chain at this portion, you could actually stop here and you could take this portion off right here. This is the upper guide. You could take that portion right there off and then rotate it over to where the chain is at the master link location, and you could separate it at that point. This is the master link right there. As you can see, it is a different color, but you could do any of the links from the videos that I saw. You could actually separate it at any point, because the new chain where you're going to be doing it at, you can actually, it comes with the crimping tool and everything in the kit. But I'm going to be trying to change the chains, the actuators right here, and the main tensioner. And the main tensioner, I believe, is on this side, and it's down in here somewhere. Like I said, I have to find out exactly where it's at because I have never done this job, but we're going to go on this adventure together. But I'm going to dig a little deeper and find out where that tensioner is, and then I'll come back and show you where it's at. Okay, so I figured I'd go ahead and show you all the parts and give you the part numbers before we go on to this. I did find out where the tensioner was. It is about where the alternator is, so we're going to have to pull the alternator off on this car to get to the timing chain tensioner. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of difficulty talking today apparently. But here is the timing chain, master link, and guides right here. This is the, looks like a IWIS motor systems kit right here. I do not see a part number on here. Let me see if I can find it. No, I don't see a part number on it. I'll have to look it up and then I'll put it in the description for everybody. I got the receipt somewhere inside in my filing cabinet. This is the valve cover gasket set right here. There's the part number right there. This is an L-ring kit, part number 734.850, or you can go off the UPC code. This is the other portion of the timing chain kit. It has the portion that the tensioner screws into, the upper guide. That's just like a seal, and then these are the two O-ring seals that go into your cam actuators. Here are the gears right here. This is a Bilstein, Phoebe, however you want to call it. Part number is right there, P-401110. And this is the actual Mercedes-Benz number right here and there. It's 271-050-1500, or their number is 173339. They didn't have the Bilstein brand in the other one. This is a Euro parts number right here, 271-050-1400, or if the Euro part is a URO 014874. Then we have some seals in here. Mercedes numbers are 0179975-045. I got two of those. Then there's this number right here, 02499774445. I forgot what seal that goes to. And then we got another cam sensor. This is a Bosch unit. They do use Bosch from the factory, is what I was told. Right there, that goes in the valve cover. And part number is 0232103114. I got most of this off of FCP Euro, so you should be able to find that. I think the only thing I had to get elsewhere was the actual timing chain kit. It had the chain and the tensioners and the guides. I had to get that from ECS Tuning because FCP did not have them in stock. And luckily I got this kit and they only had one left in stock, so I did get that one just in time. But it did still take me relatively about 4 or 5 weeks to get this kit because everything is so behind. But I just wanted to give y'all some of the parts numbers and what all the kit entails. But like I said, I did find out where the tensioner is. I don't know how well y'all are going to be able to see down in here. But all the way down there, it's kind of hard to see. But pretty much down to where that other chain is right there. That's your secondary chain. All the way down to that one is where your tensioner is. But it's going to be located down in here somewhere. So we'll have to take the belt off on this and take the alternator off as well. So I'm going to disconnect the battery. The battery is located in the trunk, I believe, on this one as well. Yeah, I don't see it up here. I haven't looked it up yet, but I'm believing that this one's in the trunk. But we're going to disconnect the battery just so we don't arc off on anything, and then we're going to remove this alternator. But first we got to take the belt off.